What's happening, people? Mr. Octagonal here from Octagonal Gaming. Now, we are doing something a little different today. We're going to be playing a game called Start, Bench, Cut. It's where you start one person, you bench one person, and you cut the other one. So, without further ado, we're going to do the first one, kind of show you guys how we do it. So, we have Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson, and Stephen Curry. Now, Stephen Curry's aren't up to date. He has 2 MVPs and probably 2 All-NBA first teams. And probably, I'd want to say 5 All-Stars. So, his career isn't over, so those are probably going to increase. So, I'm going to start Stephen Curry. I'm going to bench Isaiah Thomas because he won the championship twice. And the Pistons are my favorite team, so, yeah. And Allen Iverson, he's never won a championship. He doesn't practice. I think he'd be the worst in the locker room out of these guys. I'm going to cut AI. The next one we got here is stud young big men. Now, I love all 3 of these guys, and I think all 3 of these guys can be potential Hall of Famers for what they've shown. I'm going to start Karl-Anthony Towns. I think he's the best out of these guys. As I said, I love them all. I'm going to start Towns because I think he's been the best so far and will be the best. To bench, this is tough. I'm going to bench Joel Embiid. I think Embiid has been a little better than Kristaps, but why I was hesitant is Embiid has played 31 games. Kristaps has not. If Joel Embiid can stay healthy, he'll probably be my bench. Kristaps, I love you, man. This isn't personal. You're still one of my favorite players. However, I will cut Kristaps. Now, this one's a little trickier because they're all still playing, and Stephen Curry's been the worst of these 3 guys this season. But how I'm going to do it is I'm going to do it by in their prime. So I'm going to start the best player in their prime, bench the second best, and cut the worst. So I'm going to start Stephen Curry once again. I'm not a Warriors fan. I promise. The Cavs are my least favorite team, and I'm rooting for them to beat the Warriors. So that says something. And the Warriors are my second least favorite team. I'm going to bench Westbrook. That's a tough choice. I'm going to bench Westbrook. And I'm going to cut Harden. I know Westbrook has had more help with Durant, but I'm going to choose Westbrook over Harden. So start Curry, bench Westbrook, cut Harden. Once again, nothing against James Harden. I think James Harden's a great player. However, I'm going to cut him. Now we have 3 phenomenal NBA players who, in real life, are in their retirement phases. Allen Iverson retired 6 years ago. McGrady retired around 4 or 5 years ago. And Vince Carter is still in the league today. However, he's 40. So I'm going to once again do it by primes. All 3 of these guys are really similar. But I'm going to start AI after cutting him. It's a tough choice. All of these are hard. They're really hard. I'm going to start Allen Iverson. I'm going to bench Vince Carter. And I'm going to cut Tracy McGrady. Sorry, T-Mac. All 3 of you guys are great players. All 3 of them are Hall of Fame worthy. I know Iverson and McGrady recently got inducted. And Vince Carter still played in the NBA, so he can't get inducted yet. This one is pretty tricky. I'm going to do it by primes. I'm going to start Chris Paul. I know Chris Paul is older than both Kyle Lowry and Isaiah Thomas. However, I feel like Chris Paul has been better in his prime, even though both Kyle Lowry and Isaiah Thomas have gotten out of the second round. Isaiah Thomas did this past year, and Lowry did the year before. Benching? I think Isaiah Thomas has been better this year. However, I think Lowry has had the better career. I know, once again, Lowry is older than Isaiah Thomas. But I'm going to bench Lowry and cut Isaiah Thomas. If it was this season, the way they played this season, I would easily start Isaiah Thomas because he's been better than Chris Paul and Kyle Lowry this season. So maybe in a few years this will change because I feel like Isaiah Thomas is starting to get into his prime years while Chris Paul is in his 30s and Kyle Lowry is around 30-ish as well. Now, this one we have 3 of the best power forwards, arguably the 3 best power forwards of all time. You could maybe make an argument for Charles Barkley. In a few years, you could maybe say Anthony Davis, however, depending on he does. Maybe even Kristaps as well. I'm going to start Tim Duncan. He's been the best power forward of all time. I think that's pretty easy. Out of Dirk and KG, I'm going to bench Dirk. I think Dirk has been better than KG. I do think KG is very good and should make the Hall of Fame. However, I will be cutting Kevin Garnett. Now we have 3 great point guards in the Eastern Conference. 3 of the 4, I want to say, point guards made the All-Star team. I know Isaiah Thomas did. I want to say all 3 of these guys did. So, who I'm going to start? Once again, I'm going to do it by career. So I'm going to start John Wall. I think John Wall has had the best career out of these three players. I love Kemba so much, whether it's in 2K or in real life. I'm not surprised Kemba broke out this year. I knew he was. However, I will be benching Kyle Lowry. I think Lowry has been better than Kemba. I think Kemba is now starting to reach his prime years. I don't know if he's someone you build your franchise around, or if he's a very good second man, like a poor man Scottie Pippen, that may be extreme, either like good or bad. But I'm gonna start John Wall, bench Kyle Lowry, and cut Kemba. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. These are three of the best NBA players of all time. Definitely, they're all in the top 10. You could argue top 5. I'm obviously going to start Michael Jordan. I don't think that's much of a decision, but who I'm going to bench is more of a decision. Out of LeBron and Kobe, if I had to choose one to bench in their prime, I would choose LeBron James. I think LeBron has just been a little better than Kobe. I like Kobe more than LeBron James. I'm not a LeBron James fan. However, I do think LeBron James has been a little better than Kobe. Obviously, Kobe Bryant's a great player. Don't get me wrong. The Lakers fans don't get triggered. But I'm going to cut Kobe. This one really makes me sad because the player I'm going to cut, I really don't want to cut. We have Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, and John Wall. Kyrie Irving also made the All-Star team. I mentioned like 4 Eastern point guards who made the All-Star team. It was 5 because Kyrie Irving made it. So we have Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, who never makes the All-Star game. It's ridiculous. And John Wall. I'm going to start John Wall again. I'm a big John Wall fan. I think he's really underrated. You could argue he's a top 10 player in the NBA. Out of Kyrie and Damian Lillard, everyone who's not a Cavs fan would cut Kyrie. I'm going to bench Kyrie over Lillard. I think Kyrie has had a better career than Damian Lillard. And it's a tough choice between all of the 3 of these guys are really like in that same ballpark. However, you'd say Kyrie's had the best career because of the rings. But I'm going to choose John Wall over Kyrie, and I'm going to cut Damian Lillard. This one was probably the hardest one because I could start any of them and cut any of them, honestly, and I would, like, if someone said they'd start Lillard, bench Kyrie, and cut Wall, that would still make sense. Starting any of these guys would make sense. You can't really see all 3 people, but we have Hassan Whiteside, Rudy Gobert, and DeAndre Jordan. So, out of the best career, DeAndre Jordan has definitely had the best career. I'm going to do this one by this season, actually. I'm going to start Rudy Gobert. I'm going to bench Hassan Whiteside and cut DeAndre Jordan. Nothing against DeAndre Jordan. As I said, he's had the best career. However, I don't feel like these two have played long enough for me to do in their prime, because you could argue that Rudy Gobert and maybe even Hassan Whiteside haven't even hit their primes yet. We have 3 more great power forwards. We have Kevin Garnett, Charles Barkley, and Karl Malone. This one was actually one of the easier ones. And the person who gets cut, don't get mad at me. You're still a phenomenal player. But I'm going to start Karl Malone. I'm going to bench Kevin Garnett, and I'm going to cut Charles Barkley. I think Malone is the second best power forward of all time behind Tim Duncan. He has the second most points in NBA history. I know he doesn't have a ring, and Tim Duncan has a lot. That's why I have Tim Duncan over him. I'm going to bench KG. I know KG has some rings with the Celtics, the Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo Celtics. Charles Barkley, I just don't feel like he's better than Karl Malone or Kevin Garnett, so that's why I'm cutting him. Still a great player, top 5 power forward of all time. This next one, we have Draymond Green, Andre Drummond, and Hassan Whiteside. So I think I'm going to do it by career. My starter will definitely be Draymond Green. I think Draymond Green has been the best out of these guys in his career, as well as this season. I low-key think Draymond Green has been very underrated this season. Obviously, he's on the Warriors. The Warriors aren't exactly underrated. But, I think Draymond Green is, and Draymond Green might have the most important role on that Warriors team. I'm not saying he's the most important player. I'm saying he's had the most important role. Now, as a Pistons fan, I have to bench Andre Drummond. This season, I would cut Andre Drummond and bench Hassan Whiteside. However, Drummond has had a better career than Hassan Whiteside. So I'm going to bench Drummond and cut Hassan Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside's a great player, obviously. However, I'm going to cut him. Now, this one, we have three of the greatest Los Angeles Lakers of all time. I'm not saying the greatest because Kareem isn't there, but we have Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and Magic Johnson. My starter is definitely going to be Magic Johnson. I think Magic Johnson is the second greatest Laker of all time behind Kareem. I think Kareem is the second best NBA player of all time. And then my third is Bill Russell. Magic, you could say he's the top 5 player of all time. I'm going to bench Kobe. Kobe's a really good player. I cut him earlier. I'm not going to cut him here. I think Kobe is better than Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal is a great player, one of the best centers of all time. Very big body, very big sense of humor, but I'm going to cut Shaq. Now we have some football start bench cuts. So we have Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Matt Ryan. As much as I hate to do this, I have to start Tom Brady. 5 rings is a lot more than 1, which Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan have combined. I'm benching Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is the current best quarterback in the NFL. I've seen stuff where Matthew Stafford is as high as number 3. And as much as I love Matthew Stafford and my Lions, I wouldn't say he's 3. You could say top 6 or 7, but I don't know about top 3. Matt Ryan, he just won MVP. He's obviously been a great quarterback. This past season, he's really good, but he did choke a 28-3 lead, and he's not been good in his prime as Rodgers and Tom Brady. Now we have running backs Le'Veon Bell, Ezekiel Elliott, and David Johnson, who are arguably the 3 best running backs in the NFL. Sorry, Jordan Howard, I know your offensive line sucked last year, and you were still second in yards, and no one cares about you, but yeah. So, I'm going to start Le'Veon Bell. I do think Le'Veon Bell is the best running back in the NFL. On what you could say is the best offense in the NFL, I would say it's very hard to disagree. With Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, that offense is stacked. I want to bench David Johnson. And by the way, this is just for last season because Zeke has only played 1 season and David Johnson has only played 2. But I'm going to bench David Johnson. I'm going to cut Zeke. Okay, so Ezekiel Elliott had the best year among running backs last year, but David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell's offensive lines are nowhere near as good as the Cowboys. The Steelers have a pretty solid offensive line, and the Cardinals, I have no idea, but the Cowboys' offensive line is so good. Darren McFadden ran for over 1,000 yards with the Cowboys' offensive line the year before they drafted Zeke. So obviously Zeke's going to be good. I'm not saying Zeke stinks, but it's the truth. And if I could vote for an MVP, I would have voted for Tyron Smith, the Cowboys' left tackle. Now, in this picture, we have the 3 best wide receivers in the NFL, Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, and Odell Beckham Jr. I'm going to do it by primes. I know Odell has only played 3 seasons. I'm going to start Antonio Brown. I do think Julio Jones was better than Antonio Brown last year, and I think Julio Jones will be better than Antonio Brown when it's all said and done, because Antonio Brown is actually almost 30-ish, around there. But I'm going to start AB. I'm going to bench Julio. I love Odell Beckham. He's like my second, third, at lowest 4th favorite player in the NFL. However, I don't think he's as good as Antonio Brown and Julio Jones. Maybe he'll surpass him. I do think he'll definitely surpass Antonio Brown when it's all said and done. I don't really know about Odell Beckham. But right now in their careers, if they all ended their careers, Antonio Brown has been the most productive. I love all 3 of these guys so much. We have Dak Prescott, Marcus Mariota, and Derek Carr. I'm going to start Derek Carr. I do think he has been the best. We're going to do it by last season. I think Derek Carr was the best quarterback last season. I'm going to bench Dak Prescott because I think he was the second best quarterback last year. I hate to do this. I love Marcus Mariota so much. I'm a big Oregon Ducks football fan. I think Marcus Mariota will be something really special and has been something special the past 2 seasons. However, I will cut him. The final start bench cut of the video, we have Joe Montana, Brett Favre, and John Elway. I'm going to start Joe Montana. I'm going to cut Brett Favre, and I'm going to bench Brett Favre, and I'm going to cut John Elway. People were saying Joe Montana was the best quarterback before Brady won 5 rings. Brady cheated. I think Montana's the best quarterback of all time. Peace out.